Today, I put the light and nimble Z6 II head-to-head against the mighty D850. All the video, photos, and audio are straight out of the camera. They're unedited, other than maybe cropping on a couple of the pictures to zoom in a little bit closer. But there's no post editing on any of the photos or videos. It's just this is what the camera gives you. I left the autofocus on both cameras, and normally I wouldn't do that if I was recording video. I would use manual focus, especially on the D850. But just for the sake of comparing the two autofocus systems, I left the autofocus on both cameras most of the time, unless indicated. I also am not using any attachments. There's no external mic or anything, so whatever audio you hear is what each camera picks up internally. The in-body stabilization on the D850 is only active in 1080p for some reason. You can't turn on VR in-body in 4K, so the Z6 II definitely has the advantage here.
Are you gonna actually try?
Right here I did a little side-by-side with the Z6 II using a native Z-mount lens compared to the F-mount lens. If you're using manual focus on the D850 and you want to use focus peaking, those red lines that show what's in focus, the VR has to be turned off and it only works in 1080p also. So you can't use it in 4K at all, and you can't use focus peaking in manual focus with VR on. So it's almost useless unless you have it on a tripod or you're really good on a gimbal and you want to shoot in 1080p. Focus peaking in manual mode on the Z6 II is fully functioning though. Both cameras balance pretty good on a Glidecam. I'm using an HD 2000 here in the slow-mo, and as long as you're using a light lens, they balance really easy. If you use a heavy lens, that's probably, I don't know if you're going to balance it. That takes a lot of work. The D850 really comes alive when it comes to photography and good light. All those megapixels make a sharp, beautiful image. The Z6 II really surprised me, being half the megapixel count. It does a pretty good job, but I think the D850 has a little bit of an advantage here, besides the dust on my sensor that obviously messed up the pictures. I can fix that in post, but I didn't want to manipulate anything for the sake of the video. For these extreme close-ups, it was a little bit easier to focus the Tamron lens with the D850. Now, it wasn't impossible or difficult to focus it with a Z6 II. It focused, but it was just a little bit more natural with the D850 to get in focus. For the sake of comparison, I matched the settings on both cameras for both photo and video. Now, this would look a lot better in manual focus, but I just wanted to leave the autofocus system on to show how the D850's autofocus system is kind of lacking. If you were to do the same video in manual focus, though, it would probably look pretty good. For night photography and night video, the Z6 II has a clear advantage. With a less megapixel count, you get less noise, it's a little bit brighter. The D50 gets the job done. It's not like it can't do it, but the Z6 II just has an advantage over the D850 at night. Just in case you're wondering, I do not usually let my kids run around the lake at night. When it comes to birds, I think the D850 acquires focus a little bit better. Not much, it's slight, but the D850 is pretty good as far as focusing on birds. And the extra megapixels are going to help you when it comes to cropping. You're gonna be able to crop a little farther and still wind up with a sharper image. Feel free to let me know in the comments which camera you liked better and which one you thought looked better in different scenarios. If you could even see a difference, maybe they look too similar to you. Let me know that also.